Hi friends, so I'm here to answer the first discussion question for the House of the Scorpion. So, let's get started. So the first question reads, as you know from your discussion of Feed, a dystopia imaginatively extends certain present-day tendencies in order to critique them. Which present-day tendencies does the House of the Scorpion extend? So I thought a lot about this question, and I saw some similarities between the Egypts. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right, but the Egypts and general physical laborers in present day society. So to start off, I'm just going to read a little passage on page 82. So this is a conversation between Tamlin and Mat, and this is after they've just seen the man, the Egypt or the farm worker, whatever. They just saw him passed on the ground and he was dead. So here, this is at the top of the page, and this is Tamlin speaking first. He says, Egypts can do only simple things. They pick fruit or sweep floors or, as you've seen, harvest opium. The farm workers are Egypts, cried Mat. That's why they work without resting until the foreman orders them to stop, and why they don't drink water unless someone tells them to. And then skip ahead a few lines. Tamlin says, the man we saw on the ground probably lagged behind the other workers and didn't hear the foreman tell them to stop. He might have worked all night, getting thirstier and thirstier. So with that, I kind of compare that to just, like I said, general physical laborers, because with the Egypts, they have something literally implanted in their brains that doesn't allow them to know when to take a break, doesn't allow them to know when they're thirsty. So they kind of have to rely on other people to tell them, hey, you can go take a drink now. So with physical laborers now, a lot of times they kind of don't, and I'm talking about people who maybe work on maybe in factories or something like that. They generally don't get a lot of breaks, and so while there's nothing in their brain telling them hey, you need to be told to go and get a drink, or you need to be told that you are allowed to go get a drink, they still kind of have that, if that makes sense. They're not allowed to go and take a break or go and get a drink of water just willy-nilly. They have to wait for someone to allow them to do it, even though they know that hey, I'm really thirsty. They can't go and get that. So I think that that's kind of a little bit of a critique, because it seems like these workers are made to look very brainless, and they in the novel, those workers are quite literally brainless, and it's because of the what the bosses did to them in implanting the stuff in their head that made them brainless. They didn't come to the farm with no knowledge or no intelligence. So that's just kind of one comparison that I made with that. And then let me pull up the second question here, because it disappeared on me. Okay, so the second question says, what does Nancy Farmer's novel tell us about what it means to be human? Where does the fictional society draw the line between human and non-human? So as everyone who's read this book knows, Mat is seen as not human. He's seen as a beast, or he's a clone, or whatever. So basically, anyone that was not conceived in the natural way is not human. So Mat, who was basically created in a little petri dish and then shoved into a cow and then birthed via the cow, he's not human because he was not conceived by a man and a woman consummating and then birthing him. So he is considered a beast or not human because of that. And everyone else that was birthed via a man and a woman, all that stuff, they are human, they're good, they're normal. So I just have one quote, and it's from Lovely Tom, and it's on page 45. This is when Mat is being kept in that room, or that cage, or whatever you want to call it, and Tom is shooting him with the pea shooter. So Tom says, I forgot, you're too dumb to talk. You're a stupid clone who wets his pants and barfs all over his feet. Maybe if I spoke your language, you'd understand. Tom put his face against the bars and grunted. So in that instance, we see that Tom views Matt as this like animal-like creature and is someone who is allowed to be disrespected and is someone who doesn't deserve to be treated like everyone else and deserves actually to be treated worse than everyone else just because he was not created in the natural way. And I know that the question didn't ask about this, but I do see a lot of similarities between that and some things that happen in today's society as well, wherein if a child is birthed via artificial insemination or via surrogacy or anything like that, I've seen some like things in the media or things just like in movies and things like that about kids being made fun of because, you know, they were an experiment or they were just created in a petri dish, and so they're not really real people. So I think that this book draws on a lot of things that are critiqued in today's society, and I think that the whole human and non-human thing is really reminiscent in today's society as well, and so I think that it was, really well done, and yeah. So, thank you for listening to my responses. Bye!